All right, so we're going to be showing you all of the menu options in the Sony X950H. So it's pretty typical Android from what we've seen. There's nothing different from the Android 8.0 Oreo operating system. This is what mine shipped with. The Kalman for Bravia app is available for you guys who want to do calibrations. So, you know, food for thought there. AutoCal is still a thing here. Honestly, this is still a thing back on 2017 and even older televisions. So yeah, it's nothing new, but it's there. So it's good they didn't rip that out and take that away from you. Now, when we go into the settings, under watching TV, you have your channels. You can set up to receive broadcast stuff, preferred channels, info banner, parental controls. You can set a pin for your parental controls there. External inputs. You can go and do external device setups. You see I have my Z9F soundbar already set up. Manage inputs and label them. If you are that person that likes to rename your inputs, special things like Blu-ray, gaming, and stuff like that, this is where you'd find all that information. Cable, satellite box setup, that kind of stuff, same thing. You can set it up by model number or just by doing the control setup. And your Bravia sync settings, this is pretty much where you'll have all of the list of Bravia devices you own. I haven't done this yet, but as you guys can see, it recognizes my HT Z9F soundbar. I mean, you can enable it if you want. I don't. Generally, it kind of works out the gate all by itself for me anyway. So you shouldn't have to do too much there with the Sony, but other devices you might. Device key control, you can choose various aspects of customizing remote buttons and things like that. Now under HDMI signal format, this is how you're going to enable HDR. It will be deactivated by default, so you're going to be freaking out and not knowing how to activate HDR if you don't know where this menu is. TV button shortcuts, you can then again just choose little shortcut buttons and things like that. We got the display and sound information. You have your picture settings. More of the same as you guys have seen before, but what I'll do is I'll go into something that I didn't already create settings for, like, I don't know, Vivid, and we'll just kind of go over all the settings. We have reset, light, what is it, the auto picture mode is still there. We have the light sensor, we have brightness controls under the brightness tab. We have brightness, contrast, gamma, black level, black adjust, advanced contrast, enhancer, auto local dimming. We have extended dynamic range. And the highest you can go for all these is low, medium, or high. And then under our color tab, we have color, hue, color temperature. You can go all the way up to expert too. You have live color all the way from low to high. You can turn it off if you'd like. Under the clarity options, you have sharpness, you have reality creation, where you can adjust the reality creation and the resolution. You can adjust noise reduction, digital noise reduction, smooth gradation from low to high to off. You have motion options under the motion tab. So you go to the motion flow, you can do auto, you can do custom or off. And of course you can set your various parameters in custom. Max is basically 3, and clearness is the same thing. It goes up to 3 and 1. As you see the line indicated here, Sony has these lines right here, these lines. They're the default indicators as to what you should have your TV at if you want the default settings. So that's very helpful if you ever jack up your TV and you need to get back to default settings. Also, when you go to 1 on this TV, it activates the X motion clarity. So, you know, you don't really lose much brightness even though you have black frame insertion. If you don't want that enabled, just turn it off and then you deactivate X motion clarity. However, turning it off will deactivate a good bit of contrast because X motion clarity has always, well, not X motion clarity, but Sony's way of doing black frame insertion has always added a good deal of contrast back to the image. So food for thought there, you get more details using it. Cinemotion, you can go auto or off, no real options there. You have HDR modes, they're the same as they've always been. You can adjust all that. Video input signals, you have control over your color spaces, Adobe, RGB, BT 2020, DCI, and Rec 709, that's really it, or auto. So that's that. I think I forgot one other little section here, like dropping everything. Under the color, advanced color temperature, you can do a basic calibration for a 2-point grayscale, or you can go and do a 20-point. I have seen people say that they don't have access to the 20-point. I don't know why. I didn't do anything differently. So I can't really comment as to why it's different for me and not for you, because some people say they only have 10. Color adjustments, it operates like an HSL, hue, saturation, luminance slider. It's very useful, and this is the best way to have a color management system, and Sony still implementing this on the X1 Extreme chips. Very awesome that they do that. It's very good. You have this picture menu, this quick menu. It's really inconvenient. You have to go into edit, and then you have to check off everything that you actually want to access. So, you know, that'll be very time consuming there. We're gonna go back home, and then we're gonna go back into our settings here. You've got your Wi-Fi settings. You guys know what that is, account settings. You guys have your apps, the various apps that you guys want, the permissions for those apps, and the special access for those apps that you choose to set up, like usage access and other things like that. If you don't need that, you know you don't need that, so don't worry about that too much. Under device preferences, you have where you can turn off automatic updates by going into software updates and then deactivating automatic check for updates. So that's how you do that. You have the device name. You can rename your device if you so choose. You can restart the TV manually. You can look for your serial numbers and other information here. Legal information. If you wanted to, for some reason, become a developer, you go into build, you click this a bunch of times, and you're now a developer. You can exit out, go back into the about section, and now you have the developer options that will be available. I forget where they are. They'll be available somewhere in the menu here. And then you have language, various different languages, keyboards, sound. You can choose a sound system or whatever. Storage, home, Google Assistant, Chromecast, screensaver, developer options, which you have all these options that open up once you, again, do all that adjusting and stuff like that. So you guys are seeing, you have options here: location, usage diagnostics, security, restrictions, accessibility, which gives you all these options here, right? Reset, again, region, LED indicator. I have it set to demo, but you can set it to whatever you want. There's not really much difference. The color doesn't change. Power options, you can just choose, energy saving or whatnot. Under Apple Airplay and HomeKit, you have those options there. I don't have, obviously, Apple or anything like that. Samba TV, if you're into that, you have all those settings, initial setup stuff, and additional screen lock stuff, and the retail mode settings. Then you have remote and access, remote and accessories, which you have your Bluetooth settings. You add a device, that's how you hook up things to it. RS-232 control, remote control. So, I mean, again, you have a bunch of different options. But that's really it in a very long-winded way of explaining it, at least for the consumer menu. You do have a secret menu, but again, that's neither here nor now, and most people wouldn't need to access that stuff. But that being said, if you need timers and stuff like that, you see it up here, and general notifications are located here. Your voice control is off to the left here, and it's very straightforward. So I really hope you guys found this video helpful. Smack a like on this video, because this was really cumbersome to go through. But I want to thank you guys for watching the #1 brand in honesty, and until the next video, I'll see you guys later.